All right. Hello. Today we're going to be talking with my guest about the high value guy and how the high value guy is seen as boring to a lot of women in the USA. It doesn't matter if you're a dude who, and I've been this way for 20 years. It doesn't matter if you're a dude who's uh, making good moves, doing things well. Women many times they come across as if they're trying to use you, and a lot of us black guys who are doing well, or let me stick to it, not doing well. Those who have value. Value means that other people see you as someone who they want to have around. Other people see you, other people in business, other people in your field, in your industry, they see you as somebody who uh, they want to keep close. That's what value is. When it comes to relationships, one of the things that you got to understand about value versus money, is that people who make money, they're able to do what they need to do with money, but they're on the same level as a pimp or a drug dealer, because you're just looking at it as money, however we get it. Okay, there are millionaires who never had a legal job, they make money. There are people who do legal stuff, illegal stuff, they make money, and they have families and everything else. This is why it's not just about money. Value is a different feeling. Value is like when you're in this position where you're able to. Value is a different feeling. Value. Hold on. It's like when you're able to ease back. Where you're able to value. Okay, there go the echo. You're able to ease back when you have value, because a lot of value is about connections. Matter of fact, let's just call it for connections. Okay. Just for it's easy for people to understand. Kwame, what's up, brother? Inquisitive Prince, how you doing? Women use that excuse, absolutely. Women use the excuse that they are looking for the guy who has value, is on point, but they many times try to discredit the guy by saying that don't mean he gonna be, that don't mean, you know what I'm saying. And when women do that, a lot of times that whole that don't mean, they're looking for somebody who they can control. High value dudes have connections. You're not going to control a guy with industry connections. You're not going to do that. You're not going to uh, 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 destroy a guy with uh, a matter of fact, let me explain what industry connections is. Industry connections, I got connections with people at different hospitals. Okay. I got connections with people at different hospitals. So having connections with people at different hospitals, in my case, we sometimes contact each other in our industry, ask questions. We contact each other in our industry and inform each other when different positions are coming opening, or different situations are about to happen. A lot of that is value. It's the same thing when you're in business. Uh, let's say you're in business as a person who owns a McDonald's. Like, I want to own a Taco Bell Express, me personally. But let's say you are a person who wants to own a McDonald's. Let me double check because I'm trying to see where my guest is. I'm trying to find my guest. My guest hasn't gotten here yet. But the same thing is if you own a McDonald's. That's your industry. The McDonald's is your industry. Restaurants, fast food restaurants is your industry. You got connections with not only people, other people who have McDonald's, but you got connections with people who are uh, making moves at Taco Bell, making moves at Jack in the Box. This is what it is. This is what it's all about when you have value. Value has a lot to do with connections. The reason why you got people like Kevin Samuels say things like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a professional site where professional people interact with each other. And professional people many times have hold on, I'm trying to my guest is texting me. Okay. So yeah, so anyway, so the thing is, wanted to get you guys a better understanding of what the whole high value thing is. I was talking to a brother the last night. I flew out to Sacramento uh, for a birthday party, and one of the brothers there, you know, he was still in the drug game. I guess he had some felonies on his record or whatever. But I was telling him, I was giving him real conversation about uh, taking what he's doing right now and trying to find legal ways to get away from the dirt that he's doing because he done fell in love with the dirt. See, he didn't have connections for people to give him that level of the game. And he was really appreciated to everybody. He was like, "Man, I ain't been able to talk with brothers like this, man." And we all from the hood, we all did dirt, but some of us have transferred, and that's what the whole value thing is again, having the connections outside of the dope game, having the connections for people who are in certain industries, so where you don't have to keep going back to the same water trough. You feel me? You don't have to keep going back to the same water trough over and over and over and over again. um, that's where the issues are. The issues are just like that. It's people don't understand that about guys because they're so used to us as guys um, just having they're so used to guys just having that just enough thing going on. You know what I'm saying? They got that just enough thing going on. Hold on for a minute. My guest is texting me again. Yes, my lady, I invited you and I sent you a link already. Yeah, so so here's the thing though. Here's the thing. When you're doing a high value thing, okay, it has a lot to do with connections. Connections is everything. It's not about just existing. A lot of times, people have a hard time understanding what we go through as guys who have connections. So let me tell you about like a blue collar guy with connections. Okay, A blue collar guy, let's call him an electrician. They're one of the best that I know on blue collar and value. The blue collar electrician, he not only is good at the job he's at, but he's part of a union, once again, connections, value, to where other people are able to pull him in based on those connections. You don't necessarily have that same type of connections if you're, let's say, a janitor or a security guard. It's not that nobody's shaming the janitor or the security guard. They don't have connections like that. They don't have, if you're a contract worker, they don't have connections like that. And that's where the problem comes in is you're, okay, I'm still getting messages. Hold on. Uh, hold on. Okay. Hold on for a second. I got to send her this other link. Give me 1 second, you guys. I just have to send her this other link. Be patient. Be patient. So again, the whole point of this is to share with you on how a lot of women, they know here in America they have access to these guys. A lot of women know they have, but they call these guys boring. And see, this is why I tell you guys, don't try to change women. Don't try to get them to understand you. Drive past them because they know where the good dudes are. They know how to be keep a man if they want to. That isn't the culture of the USA women. The USA women are looking for penises to control. Now, you do have 20% of women who understand what we as men understand, that all dudes are not bad, that there's some decent dudes, but you got a lot of women who are picking dudes based on her wanting to control that guy. Let me give you another thing while we wait for our guests, and then we'll get back to the high value conversation. A lot of a lot of women want to have a baby fast. A lot of women want to have a baby quickly. A lot of them want to have a baby quickly. Okay. You got to understand. Well, my guest has finally arrived. I'm just waiting for her to click the StreamYard link. The StreamYard link. So here in America, a lot of women want to get pregnant quickly. This is one of the things when we talk about value or guys who have value. We're looking at things from a team perspective. We're looking at, okay, now that I'm with this woman, how are we going to make our next move? See, once you get to a level of value and connections, and you're mastering your industry, whatever industry that is, now you're looking at women as investments. Now you're looking at women as, does she have family connections that I will be marrying into? Does she have industry connections that I will be marrying into? It's not about looks and breasts and that's like third or fourth on your list, because when you are a dude with connections, i.e. value, when you're a dude who has mastered your industry and your industry has a respect for you, i.e. value, then oh, she's still not clicking the link. I don't understand why she's not clicking the link. But when you have those things, then then you're able to, you don't have to show your face, Lady J. You don't have to show your face. You could just click the camera. I'm still waiting for you. You don't have to when you do those type of things, you now are dealing with women who add to what you're doing. You're not dealing with women just because she's hot. This is why valuable guys with connections, we don't get Instagram chicks. We get professional chicks who have connections. We get professional chicks who have family ties. This is why you don't see a lot of dudes with those type of women. And this is why money is different from value. A guy with money, he's still going to do that type of stuff. A guy with money, he's still going to interact in that way. Okay. Somebody said to me on my other stream, well, I guess she's not coming. Okay. Somebody said to me on a different stream, they said, you can give yourself value. Guys in the boardroom do it all the time. Oh, thank you. I was wondering what happened. How you doing, lady? Can you hear me?
Hey,
Hey, lady, how are you?
I'm good,
So,
thanks.
I want to catch you up to what I'm talking about because I segued into something else. But we're going to talk about the title of this is, and I have several channels. That's why I tell people I don't really, I got several subscribers on different channels.
Okay,
So,
because I was looking for it and I couldn't find
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So this is where I talk about news a lot of because I watch a lot of international news from South Korea and Arabia. So I talk about things that I see over here generally. This will ultimately go to my CA Latre page, but I wanted
Okay,
to do it over here. So anyway, what I'm talking about is value, and I'm going to get your take on it versus your experience. So I'm a career guy. That's different from a guy who gets contracts. Do you agree or disagree with that theory?
what do you mean by contracts
So a lot of times,
versus sorry
let's
versus
use
career?
let's use a tech guy for example. A tech guy versus a career guy. A career guy is a guy who, uh, let's say, I'm gonna use like a mailman. Okay, a mailman, he has a career as a person who works at the post office. It's a government job, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but this will give a great example. The post office guy can work at several different post offices. He's not limited to the one he's been working at for 15 years. He's in an industry. The post office guy gets a check every 2 weeks just by showing up. It's like he doesn't have to go and negotiate for work every month, or he's not limited to uh making uh deals for a year or two. Okay. The post office guy, he is in a union. His money just comes. That's a career type of person. a person who is in the industry. He's not limited to where he's currently working. He's labeled a post office guy. He's able to go from this post office. If he moves to Seattle, he'll be able to linear go into a position with no effort. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Versus a tech guy, he he's a glorified temp worker. He can get let go at any time for any reason. Even if I promise you $100,000 as a contract tech guy, I don't have to follow through with that $100,000. I can short you after a couple of months. There's a lot of dudes here in Silicon Valley where I'm at who will move out here, sign a year lease on a condo or an apartment, and then be trying to get out of it because their tech contract got cut short. That happens all the time. And then you got the thing in tech where um and it doesn't happen uh to the younger guys as much, but the people who've been in the industry for a minute, it happens to them. Then you'll have these tech guys who um let's say he went and worked on somebody's stuff. Now he has to go get another position. So you'll get a lot of guys here in Silicon Valley. They may have two or three jobs within a 2 year span, but they make money. But they don't have any legacy time at the job. Does that make sense?
Okay, I understand you now.
Okay. So a contract guy versus a career guy is a totally different thing. The contract guy is hustling, whether he realizes it or not. He's hustling. He's making good money, but he's going to have to take that money and transfer it into something else, a different business, real estate, things like that. The career guy, his money just comes constantly. And every 2 weeks, all he got to go do is check in. And if something goes wrong at that post office in Michigan, he transfers over to a post office in Vermont and the money just keeps going. It ain't, and then he got connections in post offices, so on and so forth. So sometimes, and you give me a different view, because here's where I'll start asking you questions, because I'm here to learn also. Women, many a times, want safety and consistency. Even though the tech guy is making good money, that's not a problem. There's this thing in tech called ageism. When a guy gets to a certain age, it normally happens around 35. No matter the fact that he knows the same thing as the younger guy, he tends to start getting less contracts because of his age. Because HR doesn't want to carry him on their insurance. Isn't that weird?
I suppose so. I suppose so.
So
Um,
which one, so here's my question. Which one from a woman wife's standpoint would be a safer bet for you, or is it a it depends type of answer for you?
I think it's definitely a it depends. I think
Mm,
it depends because okay, so for example, within the tech industry, it may be like that. But I used to work at a construction firm in
hmm
project management, right? And
hmm
so a lot of it was winning contracts, and it's contracts for million-pound contracts,
hmm
definitely at the least six figures, right? And you would get a bonus depending on the contract that you win. But as well as getting that bonus, you would also get your base pay, your base salary. And so it's not always as simple as you're either getting a contract or you get a contract, you get the money, or you've got no income at all. Sometimes there is an in between, you know?
Okay, right.
And so again, I personally, I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I think your income does. Okay, when we're talking about
Take your time. Take your time.
high value in terms of dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your income definitely plays a part. And so I don't know what somebody would make at, say, the post office over there.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, I don't think it's a great deal. You know, I don't think it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, your pay would indicate your salary plays a part in whether or not you're high value. And
Mm-hmm.
so although you have the safety of having that income every 2 weeks or every month, you know you're going to get paid. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that necessarily makes somebody high value.
Okay. So the pay here um, for your average postal person, let's see, who can I equate it to? The pay here would be they're in the 60 and possible up range. So they're in the 60K and possible up. The only people who don't make good money in postals are the part-time people. The part-time people don't.
Okay.
And in relations to the contract with the construction, uh, there's less part of cutting the contract short in construction. Once you get it, you got it.
You've got it. Yeah, because I was
Right.
going to say that. Yeah.
But imagine this. Imagine if you got it and you're living your life for you and your family, and then somebody comes and says, "Hey, we're gonna have to let you go. We're unable to fill out the rest of the year with you," and it's there's nothing you can do. Now, how do you feel about it?
I think that's part of the risk with any job. With any job, there's always the risk of being let go, being made redundant,
But
anything
you can
like
go
that.
get unemployment with other jobs. You can't do that with contracts.
With okay, so I don't know how it works over there, but over
Right.
here, anybody can apply for unemployment. It's
Oh
not
no, no, it's not like that over here. Over here, if you're on a contract, then you're either under a contract company like a temp country company, or you're considered an independent worker. You're a business unto yourself. They don't
so.
let you do both. Yeah, they don't let you do both of those here.
So, what are we getting at? Are you saying that you feel as though the steady income guy would that makes him more high value than say somebody who's self-employed or working independently?
So what I'm getting at is that, and I was asking, when you equate the contract person who doesn't have the ability to get the unemployment, okay, versus the person who gets the steady check. The steady check is a better family thing for the wife, but you're saying it depends on the contract that this guy has. What I'm saying in regards to value is that's where it gets all muddied for some of us, because we I'm an established guy. I'm a little bit less than high value. I make a little bit less than what Kevin would consider the high value, but everything else I hit. The high value guys, we don't want to be part of those inconsistencies. So I'm getting at inconsistencies on how you're getting your money and how your money's coming in and what your connections are like. That takes away from the value part for a family and for women. When sometimes what's confusing for us is when we listen to a lot of these things is when we hear women say it depends, then we're like, but that's where the chaos comes from. That's where these dysfunctional relationships come from. The it depends crowd. Because for us, it has to be absolute. What are your thoughts?
Well, to me, there are no absolutes, right? Because we're talking about something that has so many depending factors. You know, it's not as cut and dry as saying, well, you have a steady income, this makes you a better option. You could have somebody that has a steady income that earns 20,000 a year. Do we say that he has more potential for a family just because that income is steady, even though the amount is a lot less than what's needed to support a family? So we can't just say that, okay, as long as you have a steady income, this automatically makes you high value. Now, I get that you want the security of having a steady, consistent income. Yes, that I agree with. But then when we're getting on the surface, right? But then when we get deeper into it, there are so many, like I say, there are so many if and but factors that change it.
Interesting, interesting, and that's why I invited you because I wanted to learn your perspective across the pond. Because um, one of the reasons why many established guys or high value guys we think this way is respectful to your viewpoint. We just don't we just don't think that. We don't think none of that. Our thing is everything is concrete through hard work, through connections. Everything is concrete through family connections. We think, and that's why I felt this will be a great conversation to have with you. Um, there is no right and wrong answer. Let me be clear for everybody listening. There is no right and wrong answer. Everybody, you choose what you do in life. But when I hear Kevin speak, when I hear Glendon speak, when I hear some Mr. Cole speak, it's the same thing as me. We don't believe in those things, and we can't base our family structures when we get married on those things because for us, it's a recipe for chaos. So when we talk value, a lot of times, and you're a person who has family property and you're thinking this legacy for your sons, we can't go into it with that thought process. What are your thoughts on that? Help me learn something.
And I get that, right? And I think, okay, I don't know who Glendon is. And I'm not 100% sure of Kevin Samuel's definition of high value. Sorry. I'm
No,
not
take it. No,
100%
it's okay.
sure.
I don't trip over here. Over here is we're all intellectual. We don't trip on
There was a bit
background
of
noise.
background. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So you did
we
hear
don't
it.
trip. Yeah, we don't
Sorry,
trip.
my window's open. Um, I'm not 100% sure Kevin's definition of high value. And here's the thing: as a guy, as long as you keep pursuing power, as long as you keep pursuing bettering yourself, you can never go wrong. You can't go wrong. And so I get why you say, listen, I'm going to put what you think to the side and I'm going to keep pursuing power. I'm going to keep
Right.
pursuing self improvement. I'm going to keep pursuing making myself better. That makes sense because women vary across the board, right? So what I say
Hmm.
might be different from what, you know, all
Someone
these
else.
different women, right? Someone else, they're all going to have different opinions. And so you can't you can never fit everybody's definition of high value. And
True.
so what you can do is pursue your own definition of high value um, and keep pursuing that. This is my thing: keep pursuing power, keep pursuing bettering yourself. But
True.
then here's another thing, right?
Hmm.
At the same time, if you're going into the dating market, when you go into a dating market, the other person will dictate your value.
Yeah, that's true.
They will, because they're going to say, listen, I either think you're valuable enough for me to be with, or
True.
I think you're not. And so you can keep pursuing your definition of high value, but other people are still going to have theirs. And so
True.
if you want to get chosen, put it this way, you'd have somebody that says, okay, well, my definition of high value is a guy that has a steady job. That's what makes me high value, you know.
Right.
And he could have a steady job, but like I said, earns 20,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really going to make him high value in the outside world? No. And
Yeah,
so
but who gave him the high value title at 20K?
him himself,
You
because
can't.
that's
Okay, so let me. I'm gonna let you finish, but let me just state this again, and we will revisit this statement. You cannot give yourself value. That's a oxymoron. But go ahead.
well, I'm going back to what you said, where you say guys like yourself, you say, listen, forget what you think. I'm going to keep doing me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep going with what I believe. And so you
Right.
have your own belief of high value. And so you say, I'm going to go down that route. But that's not necessarily going to translate to what other people think is high value. That's what I'm saying. So you have to be aware of that. We see the same thing with women, right? Um, you know, you could just be grossly overweight, no prospects, but you say, I'm high value because I have this, that, the other. And it's like, fine, you can keep thinking that. But when you get out there, the market is going to tell you differently.
True.
And this is why I say that no matter what definition you're going with as a guy, if you keep pursuing power, if you keep pursuing bettering yourself, in that instance, you can never go wrong. Um, a lot of the times with the I don't care what you think, I'm going to keep doing me attitude, what it allows people to do is be stagnant. It's an excuse for being stagnant, because it's like, you know, forget what you say. I am high value. I don't have to do all of that. I don't have to be that. When really and truly, no one in this world should be saying, I don't need to get more power for myself. I don't need to better myself in some sort of way. I don't have ambitions. I don't want to move forward. But some people will use the high value topic and say, I am high value, so I don't have to do that. That to me, I feel like shouldn't happen.
Yeah, you know, so I'm listening to you, and I hear those two things being mixed in your statements. The market dictates your value. Outside people dictate your value. You never can truly dictate your own value. And I think what gets lost in these conversations is people, when I say value, it's because outside people in my industry have convinced me of my importance. Outside people at my job have convinced me of my words have weight. My words have weight in people who I didn't even know was watching. Higher level folks. Oh, you're CA. Hey, pleasure to meet you. I heard all this about you. And that's how I look at the value. I look at the value as CA, I heard you made a speech. I was so moved by your speech. I had several doctors tell me that. Those type of things. I don't equate it as the 20K guy who just decides he has value because he likes the word. So, but I get it. But I get it. Let's move on to this other thing because I want to try to tap into your mind, your brain, and again learn different things. And thank you for that exchange. I did get something out of it. Uh, let's move on to this, which is the title of this whole show. A lot of USA women feel that guys who are, and I'm going to use your word power, guys who have power are boring. Now, on an international level, when you leave outside of America, the guy with the power is sought after. But maybe things have changed since I traveled the world. Is it like that in your area where guys who are solidified, let's use that word, uh stand up guys aren't they more sought after, or does it depend again?
Yeah. Now, what do you mean by boring? Because here's the thing, to me
I
personally,
have always asked that of women as well. What do you mean by boring? But go ahead.
because I think you can almost be high value in some senses, but still be boring. Boring to me is it's more of a personality trait, right? So there's no element of fun. Yeah, just a lack of fun to a person's character. Now, here's again where it can get a bit deep because some women do revel in the chaos, right?
And let me say this. That's why I brought you over here to take you out of your element so you can get deep. Because I don't think you're able to really use all your brain cells over there. I want to hear you and hear. It's like over at your spot. Sometimes I don't get a chance to hear all of you because you're cut off so much. But yeah, please get deep.
So yeah, I think some women do revel in chaos. They do want a relationship that's ups and downs and ups and downs, and they find that um, to be fun. You know, they find that that's what a relationship should be. It's more of a thrill as opposed to, and this is where it gets warped because, like I said, I view boring as a personality trait, which means that there's just a lack of fun to you, right? But then other people would view boring as, you know, a guy that goes out to work, comes home, you just do normal things. That to them is boring. They want something fast paced. They want something risky. They want something, what's the word that I could use for it? Just they want a bit of bad within the good guy, and they're thinking that there's this perfect in between that exists when really it doesn't. I mean, I think it's warped if you think that you have a guy who is perfectly good, and because he isn't taking you through those ups and downs, because he isn't, oh, there goes the ice cream van. Because he isn't taking you through those ups and downs, through those peaks and those valleys, right? um that the relationship isn't good enough for you.
Good
And
point.
what it
Very good
does,
point.
if anything, what you're doing is you're promoting bad qualities in men, and then you're going to turn around and complain about those same bad qualities that you spent ages promoting.
But see, this is why I feel like the international women, not all of them, of course, there's some lower level slags, but but a lot of them are more cultured or more set in some sort of tradition to have less of that impact. Because what I found traveling is that international women are more appreciative based on their prior condition or situation. Whereas in USA, women are a little bit obtuse, a little bit borderline arrogant, entitled. You have entitled in international women as well, but not to the degree that is here. And when I would travel, I would interact with women who they, just like they would say that I'm posh a lot. And it's not that I was posh, it's just that I'm so confident of ugly me. There's nothing you can really to take me off of my perch. But they like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think the key word that stood out to me when you were speaking is appreciative, right? The same qualities that somebody might find that's a woman in certain countries, because even here, right here as well, the same qualities that a woman might find you boring for, somebody else will appreciate those qualities.
Absolutely.
They will appreciate the fact that you're going out to work, you're bringing in that steady income, you're there at the end of the day. They appreciate the dinners, just sitting down together, having that family time. They appreciate different qualities in a person, and I
Right.
think that's part of where we've gone wrong.
Right, absolutely. And it's also where I find that, and we're going to go back to that money aspect. What I call established, I call myself established. When you're an established guy, you're not really tripping off the money. The $40 meals, the $80 meals, that's not really tripping you out. When you get to the $100 meals, that's tripping you out a little bit because you're looking at what am I really paying for? Is the $40 meal had more flavor than this than this $120 meal? What am I doing here? Let me go back to the $40 place. But you tend not to trip as much about the money because in my example, the money is coming constantly. You're not hooking it up. You're not, because I've seen people fizzle out with their money after about somewhere between 5 and 7 years. People be winning, winning, winning. And then when they hit that seventh year, they just fizzle out. You know, I did work at a artificial intelligence place for probably like 2 years when I came back to California. I worked there at night before I took my hotel job, a hotel manager at night. I still work because I've been working two jobs most of my life just because I love to work. Um, I've always worked in medical finance during the day, but my medical finance job is a mental job. It's not a lifting boxes type of thing. I'm dealing with policies, laws, procedures. And for me, it just comes. You know what I'm saying? So me having a second job ain't no big thing. So I'm working at the AI place, and my boss, he made a lot of money from 20 years old until he hit 27. He made like $500,000 and he just sat back, right? And with him sitting back, the industry changed on him. He wasn't able to get another job until he turned 39. He actually went through his money and he ended up living with his wife's mom. That's how bad it got because he thought, I know my stuff. I'm just going to keep getting picked up. You see what I'm saying? But that isn't what happened. The industry kind of changed on him. He got into that ageism thing that is in a lot of tech, and he ended up live him and his wife and his child end up staying with his wife's mom after the money ran low, and he got his first job in his late 30s, and he had to fly over to California and get an apartment. So
Here's here's the thing. This is why and now anybody can find themselves going through a tougher time at some point in their life, right? But here's why the guy that you just spoke of is not high value. Because high value is something that's more than just monetary.
true.
It's more than just the amount that you make. It's your mindset. And what the mindset of the guy who you just spoke about shows me is that he's complacent. He's
Yeah, he got caught
complacent
up in the money. Yeah.
and yeah, he's not he has no drive. And to me that's the trait of a high value guy is somebody that's not complacent. They're keeping up with the market. They're constantly they're constantly surveying the market and looking for new ways to make income. They're keeping up with society. They know what's going on. Their finger is on, they're on the ball, basically. They know
Right.
what's going on. They're adapting and they're continuing to thrive through the adaptations of society. Even as society moves
And,
on, they're not complacent. And to me, complacency means stagnation. And stagnation means you're not moving forward. And if you're not constantly striving to move forward, you're not high value.
and also let me throw another twist in there. It's going to these events and interacting with other people. Sometimes you may not be keeping the pulse of what's going on, but your connections, you're keeping a pulse through these connections. You're going to invite only family parties. You're going to invite only situations. Like I'm a conservative. I'm a black first voter, but I'm a conservative. I believe in family. I believe in in making the money, and I believe in policy, laws, and policy. Um, so I'll go to these events. Many times, I'm the only black guy. I'm the one of seven black guys there. People are coming to me, and I'm talking to them. My first question, Jessica, is, "Hey, how you doing, Alan? What industry are you in?" So in that way, keeping pulse is you're making these connections, and you're establishing uh, ways to talk to the trade guy, ways to talk to uh, uh, the wind power guy, ways to talk because you're interacting on this level. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. I agree with that because by, like you said, through those connections, that's what's going to allow you to keep your finger on the pulse, as you call it. You're aware of, okay, so you have those connections, you're having a conversation. They're going to say, are you aware of this opportunity or that opportunity?
Right.
And without those connections, you wouldn't know about those opportunities. So the connections can help you a lot. But even as a person, if you're not able to get those connections, there are still other ways that you could go about it.
True.
And you could
True.
go about that by researching the market for yourself, paying attention to things like stocks and shares, how they're going up and down, potential ways to make money. You
True.
analyze the market, and I feel like you should do that as well as having connections. You should be analyzing it yourself too.
Very true. I have a cousin who he's heavy in the market. He sends me uh the little tickers of what he's working on and what he approves on, like every Monday, every Wednesday. He just sends the whole family structure, everybody within the family structure. He sends them tickers on what he's dealing with or something he's invested in. And we go in and we look up those tickers to see what companies are, and we research the companies, and so it's an interesting thing that you say that. But yeah, that's something Victor sends to me all the time. Um, Before I go into my next line of questions, and thank you again for your time, let me give you an opportunity. Do you have any questions?
At this point, no. If any arise, then I'll just ask you as we go.
Okay, okay, sounds good. So let's get into suits and ties. Okay. So based on some of your other questions, I'm gonna uh assume that you may end up leaning toward the it depends again. But what's really funny is, who is this? I have to hit him up later. So what's really funny is suits and ties, you don't need to make money. Anybody knows that. But in order to get around certain people at certain events, to come into certain offices, even the Silicon Valley guy will go get a blazer. Even the tech guy will go get a blazer. You can't be in certain environments. It's anybody who tells me, man, I ain't got no suit, I don't believe in no suit, you're not going to ever be in certain areas where power is discussed, where city hall things are discussed, because they're just not going to let you in with a shirt and slacks. They're just not. What are your thoughts?
I know the suits and ties. It caused a lot of controversy, right? And like you say, people saying, I don't need to wear a suit. What do I need to wear a suit for? But it's part of the image. I feel like everyone should have a few good suits in their wardrobe, especially if you're trying to enter certain fields. And everyone, no matter what field you're in, there are always going to be functions or things that are happening in your
Always.
life where you need a suit, you need to power dress. And this is the thing, whether we like it or not, we do equate the way a person dresses with who they are. The way a person dresses is a reflection of who they are. And so, when you're at a nice function and you have you even at certain places right here, certain venues, if you try and get in there with, you can't wear a tracksuit. That's like a huge no. You can't even wear casual shoes. You have to be dressed the part, and that's because they know image matters. It does. And I feel like you could tell somebody who sees value in themselves by the way they dress. And then you have people that they give examples like, I don't know, who could we use? I think like Mark Zuckerberg, is it Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Bill Gates? And they say, well, you see them in, like, I don't know, a polo shirt and a
Oh
pair
no.
of trousers.
Oh no, he got blazers.
And that's the thing, he does.
Mhm.
Even he does. And even if we wanted to say he never wears blazers, he never wears a suit, he would be the exception to the rule. He would
Mhm.
be in the tiny minority. Most other people, most successful people that you see, they do know how to dress the part. Why? Because they know that it matters. It does matter, and it affects the way people see you. For example, where I work, you have to wear a suit. You have to.
Right.
Even me as a woman, I can't. No jeans. They're not allowed. No casual wear. It's not allowed. You have to adhere to the dress code. And that's just part of moving up into certain worlds or into certain societies. You have to be able to dress the part. And so you can say that you don't want to. Okay, that's up to you, but you're going to deny yourself access to um,
Key
moving forward.
Keyword deny. And this is what's let me shout out a couple of people in the chat room. Giving a shout out to Kwame again. Harambe, they don't want safety, or let me read it correctly. They do want safety and consistency, but they always want to do what they want to do at the same time. Right. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that, Harambe, toward the end. Digital Night. Yeah, women are getting with guys who's getting those crazy checks every month. That's steady income. Yeah, absolutely. And Gabe says, oh, Gabe is like, what's going on over here? So, so yeah, we're having a. I like, you know what? Matter of fact, let me explain why I invited you. I like having highbrow conversations. And somebody told me, Mr. Research, you're a unicorn. You from the hood and you just happen to come up. So not everybody has had that. So to the hood people, you're strange. And to the corporate people, you're strange, just like you in your own bubble. And I said, you know what? That's why I've kind of realized that I need to sometimes have one on one with people so I can learn perspective. So where it's not all about all these voices on the panel. You know what I'm saying? You actually just get to have a conversation where intellectualism is happening and you get to walk away saying, oh, you know what? I feel like I've experienced something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of the times you almost get half thoughts when there are a lot of people on the panel because nobody can actually fully get anything out. So you always get half of what they're thinking, or you just get a snippet of what's going on in their mind. Whereas in situations like this, where it is more laid back, you can get more out of the discussion. It's more insightful.
Right, right. Um, here's something. So let's go back to the deny thing. I just don't interact with dudes who don't have suits. I just don't. there's nothing I can, for me, gain from those gentlemen, because we're not of the same thought pattern at this point in our lives. Um, we were, I was at somebody else's show and we was talking about Ice Cube, and the guy had so much misinformation about everything that happened with Ice Cube that we spent literally an hour and 15 minutes educating him on stuff he didn't know. And it was draining. And the conversation got derailed. And it was like, why is this person even on the panel? Because everything he keeps saying is something he heard. He hasn't even researched this stuff. So I say this in conjunction with the suits, is that a lot of times if guys are not putting themselves in environments that are different from what they're used to, you're not going to get a full breadth of information. You're going to get just your information. Just like when I say to guys, uh, white guys don't do that, and Pakistani. Well, I'm not worried about white guys. I'm worried about black, because what I deal with is black. But sir, we're talking about men. And when we're talking about men, we have to talk about all men worldwide. You just can't talk about the men in Texas. That doesn't even make sense. But again, in my view, just my view, that's because a lot of dudes are not in these other environments because, again, they don't want to dress the part. They don't want to go where, matter of fact, family money runs everything, Jessica. Independent people can make money, but they'll never defeat families. So this again goes to the high value thing, is a lot of this family structure stuff, you want to set your kids up to be managers of other people's kids. You feel me? You want to put yourselves in these positions. A guy who denies interacting with that, it's like, well, I don't even understand being around here, but it's going to be a waste of time. What are your thoughts? Educate me.
No, I agree with you there. I think, okay, to address the first bit of what you said, a lot of people aren't comfortable with moving out of, and this is the thing, okay, whenever you're not comfortable with moving outside of your bubble, moving outside of your little world and seeing different perspectives, seeing how other people are living, seeing what else is going on, you're always going to be limited in whatever you do. You're always, if you don't want to move out of that bubble, you are limited to that bubble. And some people are happy with that. They are. Some people are comfortable with that. They say, well, I don't care what's going on out there. I'm doing fine where I am.
But see,
And
wait,
so
wait, wait,
my
wait,
kids
wait,
will do
wait.
fine.
But see, those I don't care guys. They're chaos. They mess up business. They create problems because that I don't care stuff is undisciplined in power thinking. But go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I look at them as another branch of the denying yourself access group of people. They're denying themselves access to better living. And if they're okay with that, listen, I'm actually at the point where I'm not going to try and convince you
Oh, never.
to do
Mm-mm.
otherwise. If you're happy with that, you're happy with that. But and here's the thing, this is gets on to the next bit of what you're saying, because they're saying, well, I'm okay. I did okay where I'm from. I did okay staying in my bubble, and so my kids will be okay staying in that bubble. And you should want more for the next generation, because this is the thing, when you do start getting a more worldly view on how things work, you realize that the position you put yourself in is going to benefit the position of your children.
Absolutely.
When you put yourself in certain positions, their life is going to be better than yours, better than everybody else's, and you should strive for that. for you to say, unless you're, a multi-billionaire, if you're not looking to have them being in a better position than you are, then you're going wrong, But again, you can't force anyone, because these people will tell you, who are you to say that? I don't need to change anything. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm doing this where I'm from. I've got my job and I'm cool with it. I have everything I need. And so you can't tell them anything. And so I've stopped trying. But I think what's sadder, right, than denying yourself access, that's one thing. But when you deny the next generation that access, and not just the next generation, but your own next generation,
Right,
um,
right.
I think I think that should always be the motivation, even if you don't want to do it for yourself. Um, Use that as a motivation to help you keep pushing forward.
Which goes to this thing that I want to say about dating. Like, I got engaged twice. And the reason I got out of those engagements, and it hurted me to get out of those engagements, was because the person in each scenario went against the team. Well, you're not going to have me con, keep in a team thought process, self-disciplining myself, swallowing my pride, and got to do this for the future wife, when you're doing something total opposite. And I think over here in the States, which I'm quite sure is everywhere, I just haven't seen it this much like here in the States. This independent thinking, Jessica, that's not what the rest of the world does. I try to tell people all the time. I used to live in Romania, then I went through uh Kakistan, I went through Poland, I went through all these places, man. And once you jump on the train, you everywhere. And what I realized is people are monolithic based on their flag. And what I mean is, it was weird to watch the Slavic people hate the Ukrainians, but the Gypsy Romanians, who are darker skinned or olive skinned, Slavics were perfectly fine with them. They didn't like the very light skinned Ukrainians. They considered the Ukrainians like Mexicans. And it had me understand the dynamic of caste system. That in that scenario there was no color, really. It was power, levels of power. You know what I'm saying? And back in the days they used to call the Russians Rus or Rus Vikings. The the whole thought process is, we want power so we don't have to. And it set me up for the rest of my life. Now I'm 19 over in Romania, because I got a deal putting up concert. But it just opened my eyes to how people are viewing power. It's not about skin color. It's about my flag versus your flag. What are your thoughts, Jessica?
I I agree. Okay. Here's the thing that I noticed. I think I probably said this before, but I noticed through discussions with Americans is that everything is more differentiated on the basis of race. So it's like, you have the whites and then the blacks and then the Mexicans, and that's how everything is divided. Whereas, and don't get me wrong, you still have that here, but primarily it's divided by class.
Right.
That's how things are divided up. And so, um put it this way, over there you'd rather have, like, I don't know, whites deal with other whites or blacks deal with other blacks. Here you want to deal with somebody that's in your same class regardless of their race. that's what makes people more comfortable. So as a white person, you'd rather deal with another middle class black person rather than a working class white person. And so it's the class that is it's the
Right.
class that you're united through. And so again, as you move up through those systems and you realize how the nepotism is working through, rather than the nepotism being race based, it's being class based.
Right.
And listen, whether you agree with nepotism or not, it exists.
It exists.
It exists and it's happening. And just because you don't like it, it's not going to disappear or go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what you see with other communities, right, is that even when you look at the Asians, so like the Indians over here,
Mm-hmm.
because they've
Go
already
ahead and say
established them.
Packies. Go ahead and say Packies. You know you want to.
No.
You know, when I was over there, that's all I heard. These Packies. I'm like, what the heck are you
Yeah,
talking?
I don't use that word, but
Yeah, go
people
ahead.
do. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But one thing you'll see is that they their kids go through the education system, go to uni, and because of that nepotism, because of they've established themselves, the kids have a job straight away, a good, high-paying job,
Well,
and
before you
that's
continue, let me just insert this. But the trick with them is they're willing to sacrifice their own happiness in order to set that kid up. But go ahead.
that's when you start to realize the power of community. You start to realize the power of working together. You start to realize how it can push you forward. Again, I think I've given this example before. I don't know if you've heard it, but there were a group of brothers and they brought a shop on the main road near where I live. And so they all pooled their money together. One brother put in slightly more. And so that became his shop, and then they took the profits from that shop
Gave the
and
cousin one.
gave the other. Then the next brother, there were four of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
next brother brought another shop on that road a bit
Mm-hmm.
further up because it's a long road. He brought another shop. They pulled the profits from those two shops and the money starts coming in quicker now because you have the two
Mm-hmm.
shops, and the third brother brought a showed, and they pulled the money from those three shops, and then the fourth brother brought a shop in a different area. And so what they did through working together was they basically monopolized that entire road. And this is a road that if you live in the area that I live in, you're going to walk down that road. If you
Mm-hmm.
need to pop to the shop and get something, that's the shops that you're going to. You're going to go to one of those three shops, and they monopolize that entire road,
Mm-hmm.
that entire street. That's theirs. But then, it's like if you try to do that in in other communities, it's going to be, well, why does he get his shop first? I put money
Right.
into it as well.
Right.
Or then
Right.
you'll have the brother who did start up the first shop start saying, well, I don't want to take the profits from the shop and give it to you. This is my shop. Why
Right.
am I giving the profits back? So
Mm-hmm.
they're not working together. They don't have that community or group mindset where it
Mm-hmm.
allows all of them to succeed, not just one. All of them succeeded. You
Because see,
can't
here's the
always
funny.
transfer that to other communities.
Here's the funny thing. Before Madeline Albright, or well, no, it wasn't Madeline Albright. Who was the lady uh when Reagan was president? Who was the lady? Your prime. Who was your prime lady?
Margaret Thatcher?
Thatcher. Thatcher. I be getting her confused with Albright. So Thatcher, under Thatcher and under Reagan, they simultaneously opened up Britain and America to every immigrant they could. And what's unfortunate about that is, especially England being an island, it limits the people who are actually there. So what happens is all of the boys who went to fight these wars to give England the power that they have, they did it for their sons, their daughters. They did it for England. All the Americans who fought in World War I, World War II, they did it for their children. especially the Italian guys. They did it to be recognized, you know. So to allow somebody from, let's say, Syria to come over and take advantage of what's supposed to be for your sons and daughters is disingenuous. It's like, yeah, they're going to come over and do these things because we've made it easy for them to do that. You and I can't go over to Syria and just post up and do those same shops. They got laws against it. You and I can't go to India or Pakistan. They got laws against it. Do you see how that's weird as far as economics are concerned, where our countries allow people to come over and do that, but they don't allow us to go do it in their country?
Here's my thing on that. I don't have a problem with it. I
Mm,
don't. I don't have a problem with it. The government don't have a problem with it. Why? Because, okay, in the example I just gave, they're taxing all of those products that are
true,
sold in the shop. They're
true.
taxing the income that's made out of those shops. Those people still need to live. They all bought houses next to those shops. So again, the economy isn't suffering from them doing what they're doing. And
Not yet.
okay, to the everyday individual, um,
Mm,
those opportunities were there for you as well.
true.
They were there for you. You just didn't capitalize on it or seize the opportunity.
That's
Why?
fair.
Because of complacency. Because, oh, I'm doing okay. I don't need to do any more. I don't need to put in a
That's
bit of
true.
effort and
That's true.
get more. So people can be angry at it and say, they're coming over and they're taking over and they're doing this. Well, guess what? The exact same thing that they're doing, you could have done as well. What stopped you? What stopped you from doing it?
We got
Absolutely
to hi-
nothing.
we got to highlight what Gabe said. I found it very funny that you're saying this. Gabe says it's almost a rule in the black community that you don't do business with family. I learned that the hard way. It's sad in the U.S. Family is so weird. It's so weird. But yes, I understand
My
your
dad
point.
tried as well, and it didn't go well. A lot of time wasting, a lot of money down the drain until he stuck with his one friend. They both put their money together, both serious about it, and it worked out. But he had to cut away the dead weight. He wanted to try with other people. He wanted to bring more people in, but unfortunately, some people just don't have the right mindset. And
Mm,
if they did, do, the amount that we could actually do if we did come together, because, like I said, there's power within a group. What they did with those shops, one of them couldn't have done alone. It would have
mm,
taken them a lot longer if they were to do it one by one, or if it was just one of them trying to do it. They wouldn't have been
right.
able to pull that money together from four people in the beginning. One of those brothers would have had to save up the full amount. It would have taken them a lot longer. But they realized the power that you have in numbers. And so they came together. And not only did they came together and everybody won. Everybody got something out of it. Everybody established themselves. Everybody created something that they could pass down to their next generation. The power of working together, the power of community.
Now,
That's lost on a lot of people. Sorry.
no, 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 no. I just wanted to interject this. I'm sorry to step on what you were saying. Again, this is the first time you actually get to hear Jessica's brain because it's not getting cut off, which is very interesting. Mr. Air Force One said that's not always true. They come here and get business loans. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is you as an American, I don't know how it is as a Brit, but yeah, you do got to go through more loopholes to get your business loan as opposed to somebody who just got here. That's the weirdest thing. I still to this day cannot understand how they justify that. Jessica, what's your thoughts on that? How people who are citizens can't get it as easily as those people who just got here?
I'm not sure how it works there, but I'm pretty sure here it's the other way around. So it's harder for them to get loans. It's
Oh man,
harder.
Oh, we wish we can get some of that.
Yeah,
Jesus, right,
it's harder for them to get access to those things. It's actually easier if you're born here, based here, and you haven't just come over. Because, okay, I don't know, probably the way America sees it is that you give out these loans, it encourages them to come over and start a business here.
right.
That's the way America's seeing it.
Hmm.
Whereas over here, we're viewing it as you come over here, you get the money, and then you take the money and you disappear back to where you came from, you know, and
Right.
use the money over there to start building a house. And you can't recoup that money once they're gone.
Well,
So
that's
it's
what happens here too. They'll come, they'll sap the money from here and send it back to their country. And that's a lot of reason why homelessness is the way it is. And people try to say, oh, it's not immigration. It very is immigration. None of this really happened. That's why I use Margaret Thatcher. And none of this really happened till Reagan and Thatcher. And we had unions here and all that type of stuff. All that stuff fell under immigration. But what's so funny is it's not that we don't want to give people opportunities. It's just that we don't want people to cheat the system to get the opportunity. You come and you get these things, just like for example, the Negro College Fund, which is supposed to be for African Americans, right? You got Africans that will come here and pretend. You got Indian guys that will come and shave their head and pretend to be black just to get that.
I saw that. I saw a story on that.
And it's like, are y'all serious? And it's partly our fault because and this is the one thing that's problem that I believe having women in charge of some of these things or guys who are woman first. In the black community, and I've argued this in political meetings, CA will be very arrogant, very, very warrior like. Hey, I want this for our sons and our daughters, period. Period. Well, what do you want for them to do ID and you'll get a person laughing? Yes. Yes. I want it so stringent that we have to check, and double check. And it's for these type of reasons. And sometimes you get these very laxed approaches, or you get these guys, and I think I hate these guys more than I hate the other stuff. You get these guys who they want to appease women so bad that they will put their sons up for slaughter. And it's like, sir, you don't even believe what you're saying yourself. You're saying that for the benefit of women. Women here in America many times just go for this all women concept. But then when those women betray them, Jessica, then they come back to the black community asking for black support. It's crazy.
But
Go
here's
ahead.
my thing. I don't know if I see this as a gender thing, right? I don't see it as a gender thing. Here, what I see is people capitalizing on opportunities. And this is what I spoke about the high value mindset. You were looking to capitalize off of opportunities. And fair enough, they're almost doing it fraudulently, right? When you have the Indian guy shaving his head in order to get the space that's reserved for an African American, or get the business loan, or whatever it is. But what it shows is that they've seen the opportunity is out there and they are going for it. They're looking
True.
to capitalize off the opportunity. And unless we're talking about a mindset that is instilled from very young, right? And even then, as you get to be an adult, that's something that you have control over. So I don't see this as something that's you know um, a cause of some sort of gender divide. I see this as just lacking the right mindset overall.
Well,
And
here's why.
Air Force,
Here's
no,
why it's a gender divide. Because when if something goes wrong, they come back and rely on the male gender. You see the problem there.
I get that, but that's what women are going to do. That's what they're going to do. It's up to you to say, sorry, not me. Nope. Go to somebody else and try and get them to pick up the pieces.
Right,
That again, it comes down to individual choice. That's not your burden. If somebody has chosen to walk away and say, I don't need you, I'm doing this over here. Well, when they come back and say, I need your help, well, I thought you didn't need me. I'm going to go and
what I mean is to your keyword opportunity. If we're going to be opportunity, then we need to be opportunity. Period. So when it backfires, you didn't do well on your opportunity. Don't come back to the Black community and now say, we need assistance. That's let's stick with it was an opportunity. You didn't maximize it. Let's move on.
no, because even then, we're talking about if you have to go it alone, that should be your very last option, right? But opportunity through a community mindset is always going to take you further.
I got to stop you
Always.
again. I got to stop you again. See, a lot of time, and I'm glad you went there. And we're going to be winding down shortly. But I'm glad you went there. A lot of times on these panels, Jessica, these people want to speak as independents. But even you just said the group thinking is the better thought process. That's why in all business classes, they teach you about conglomerates because group is way better.
Hmm.
But what's so unique on these panels, you'll have people talk independent. Black folks ain't a monolith. That's your fault. Everybody else is a monolith.
It's Here's my thing, it's not necessarily the fault of those individuals, and I get why people say that. I get why that mindset exists, because you have to separate yourself from everybody else. If everybody else is going in the wrong direction and you're going somewhere else, you have to separate yourself.
True.
You
True.
can't choose to. And here's the thing, it should be opportunity, right, and progress. If you can do that with the community, even better. If you can't, go it alone. And that's
But
why I
if you're
don't fault people for thinking like that.
but if you're
But
wagging your finger at the blacks, see that's the difference. If you're wagging your finger at the blacks just because your opportunity is currently winning, don't come back talking about but I'm black too when something goes awry. That's one of the things I don't understand that because we'll get these people, just like the guy who shaved his head, the Indian guy, right? What's one of the first things he did? He trashed black people. After he became a doctor, he trashed black people. So all that time he's pretending to be an AKA, all that time he's pretending he got a black girlfriend, having black sex, all that time just to get this free money from black folks. And the minute he gets his doctorate, oh, I didn't like being around him at all. What are we doing? Go ahead, Jessica.
I don't think. Okay, I don't blame that on black people. I don't. Okay, so here's why I was saying, if you have to go it alone. And I understand why most people were doing that, because again, the community mindset isn't there. And so you have no choice but to go it alone a lot of the times. When I go back to Gabe's comment and he says it's almost a rule in the black community that you don't do business with family, I learned the hard way. That's the reality for a lot of people. And so, although you want to be able to do it on a community level, you have no choice but to say, listen, if I want to be successful, if I want to move forward, I'm going to have to go it alone. And here's the thing, if you can't um, do it on the basis of race, because I know a lot of people do, or family, they want to do it along those lines. And that's not always possible. What you do is you find yourself a community rather than it be race based or family based of like minded thinkers, because that's just as powerful. Like minded thinkers, people who have the same plan, the people that want to progress, the people that want to move forward, you align yourselves with them, no matter what race they are, no matter, whether they're family or not, because again, it's still going to help you in the long run. You have to leave behind the people who don't want to progress. They're dead weight. Trying to carry them along with you is only going to make everything harder. It's only going to make everything take longer. It's a burden. It's dead
I,
weight. It's a burden. You have to leave behind, as hard as it is, as harsh as it is. You have to leave behind the people who don't want to progress, the people who are stagnant.
I said a long time ago, the great separation is here. Uh, I personally believe as more Indians take control over America, they're going to bring a form of slavery back, which would be the house servant, because for a lot of Black people, those will be the only jobs that will be left, service jobs. Black people, regardless of what they know, regardless of their skill set, it's going to be less and less Black people. I on the level I am, I constantly see Black women being replaced by whites, Indians, and Asians. My building is all white, Indian, and Asian. I'm the only Black guy in the entire building, 5 floors. People don't see it, and they plan it for a joke. The daughters of a lot of Black women who used to be successful, they're doing man jobs, handyman, security guard, warehouse worker. Do you see what I'm saying, Jessica? If you were to see those things as true, that the Black women who used to, like back in the days before the right to vote here, Black men used to have those jobs. And Black men, because they cared for their daughters, they brought Black women in. This was all before the right to vote. But once white women realized that Black women were going to get the right to vote, all of a sudden they start teaching Black women in 1965, 69 to be anti-Black male. And that's where it started. Then when Ronald Reagan put all these drugs on the streets, then you had the fall of the Black man who fell to a lot of drugs. And it's just like putting something in your vape cigarettes right now. If I put something in the vape cigarettes, everybody would be addicted within 2 years. And then you'll have a bunch of people say, well, you could have just stopped vaping. No, it's not that easy. It's chemically not that easy once you introduce an addictive substance into your body and you have a culture of raspberry vape. I say all that to say this. The issue has always been that people don't realize, and this goes to what you were saying, Jessica, groups are fighting groups. The individual person will never win. And they believe that they're going to win based on the fact that they're currently winning. That isn't how business works. There's a lot of people out here trying to replace you. I worked with a woman. She was in a position for 20 years, Jessica. The Filipino guy became her boss, gave her a year to get a certification like I have to do a job she's been doing for 20 years. She really don't need certification. But okay, she didn't get it. That's her fault. Do you know they removed that woman after 20 years and now she got to go start over? Can't go get an unemployment. She was fired. So 20 years down the drain. And who did they replace her with? A white person. Do you see my point? And I don't know. Educate me, Jessica, on that, and then I'm going to hear from Mosman, and we're going to get our last 2 questions. Go ahead, Jessica.
Sorry, I had to step away for just a second. I
Go
had to
ahead.
step away for a bit, so I kind of missed what you were talking
Oh, okay.
about. So I heard that they replaced her with a white woman after 20 years.
Yeah, and I guess my point is that here in the States, what I'm seeing And I wouldn't have seen it if I wasn't on this level. I'm the only black guy at my entire hospital. Okay. Everybody else is Asian, Indian, or white. It used to be a black controlled 50% hospital. And I'm seeing the daughters of these children become security guards. I'm seeing the daughters of these black women become handymen here in America. And I'm seeing that if black people are not careful, they're going to bring slavery back here in America, just like I saw them do in England. Because remember, they had to pass that law in England about slaves, where the Indians are so powerful, the only jobs that some blacks can get is housework. What are your thoughts, Jessica, before we go to Mosman?
I don't know. As far as I know, those laws that they have to bring in is in regards to not black people, but their own people. So they'd bring them over and effectively, perform slave labor.
Oh
These
no,
people.
they had Africans in the attic when I was there. They had
When was this?
this was 92, 93.
Okay, this is before. That's before I was born.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know recently that's what's been going on. So it's their own people that they're bringing
Oh, okay.
over and just working the hell out of them.
Yeah,
Um,
you had a Russian guy chained up in the basement.
right, and the other group is Eastern Europeans do it. The
Hmm.
Gypsies have done it. A lot of groups have done it. Where they take people who are vulnerable, either because you're an immigrant, you come over, you don't know the language, you don't know where to go for help, and they take advantage of you. I know with the Gypsies, it was mainly people who had no family, they might have been on drugs, they could have had learning disabilities, they take advantage of them. So that's been going on with different groups, not particularly perpetrated against black people, no. Usually it tends to be their own group that they do it to. But addressing what you first said about the people who were successful, but now the children, the daughters of those people are, security guards, working in warehouses, working men's jobs. A lot of the times we think as long as we've done what we need to do, as long as we're earning a certain amount, then our job is done. And that's not enough. You have to pass on a mindset to your children. Because again, if your children grow up in comfort, but they don't have the right mindset, it breeds complacency. And I say complacency is at the root of a lot of problems
Right.
within the community. It's
True.
complacency. I'm okay doing what I'm doing. I don't really need to do much more. Well, I'm happy, so that's all that matters, right? I don't need to do anything else. It's complacency. And so, you do your part and you start progressing, moving forward. But your children have known nothing but a comfortable, cushy life. And so they don't have that mindset of, let me progress, work harder, move forward. You need to pass that down to your children. It
And
has to be passed down.
and for my fans, let me share with you what complacency is. It is a mix of no elevation mixed with no consistency. It is a weird thing. It's you're not consistent at where you're at, and you're not trying to elevate. It's like, what are we doing? Let's go to Mosman, and then we'll go get the last two questions. Mosman, teach me something, sir. What are your thoughts?
Salute, Mr. Research. Salute, Jessica. Happy Sunday to the both of you.
Hi.
There you go.
I I think there is a fault in regards to self-awareness that a lot of men have, and I'll give you the example. Ego will prevent us from moving forward. Me personally, I'm okay with being a second, third, fourth banana. I'm okay with sitting in the back, having no one know my name except the people who are important, and I help them get the job done. a lot of people can't do that, and that prevents group progression. And I believe that's very unfortunate, as well as a lack.
Hence, hence your icon character, one of the most powerful guys without an actual superpower. Clue. But go ahead.
Yeah, and that's part of the reasons why I chose him. I found Question very intriguing when I watched the Justice League series. But anyway, I believe self-awareness, the lack of it, will be our downfall, along with the lack of consistent search in business acumen, as well as foresight. You know, you be good with the amount of money you make and you're in a good position, but what are your children going to do? Like right now, I'm 24 and I have certain things in my head for estate planning, family planning, so that by the time I have children, by the time at least I'm 35, I can put them in the position. But before then, I'm going to put myself in a position to be able to hire my nieces and to keep that family money going and to start anew for the future. Because at this very point, my nuclear family and surrounding members, it's very dysfunctional. And I don't want that cycle to continue as me and my sister grow up and we have our children, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I even said to one of my family members, I said, you know what? Why don't I just loan you all the money you need to pay all your debts rather than it backfiring later and it being held against your estate? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
I'm not going to charge you a bunch of interest. Pay me $1,000 a month. You get 2,500 a month. Pay me 1,000 a month. Go ahead and take this 50 grand and get that over with, and go offer your people a deal. Hey, look, I got 35,000 a day. What you want to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, why linger it in peace pay? But then that goes to your business acumen type of conversation. It's crazy. So going back to the high value, and we're gonna end on these two questions. Thank you so much, Jay, for coming in, because it's all about learning over here on this side. Nobody's absolutely right. Um, as a guy who's established, and this goes to what Mosman just said, as a guy who's established, for me, Jessica, I look at women as investments. That's just how I look at it. I will take a bumpy faced girl because I believe I had this type of talent. Call it arrogance or whatever. It doesn't matter to me, ego. I'll take a bumpy faced girl who's not attractive to other people and I will create a dime. I will create a dime, but she has to follow this leadership. But she also has to have, like I said before you came on the live stream, she has to have family connections or she has to be a master of her industry. I don't see a point in connecting with somebody who's who I have to bring up or work. I just don't see the point. For me, when it comes to Harambe and this question, they do want safety and consistency, but they always want to do what they do at the same time. Jessica, educate me. I can't, as a guy with the career, as arrogant as it sounds, I'm not jeopardizing myself with somebody who want to do what they want to do. This is why the non-black women, because they play the game better. It isn't that those white women are better. It isn't that those Euro women. They play the game better. Why can some black women not see that, Jessica?
Well, to me, they want that because they've been allowed to get away with that. If you're allowed to get away with something, you're going to keep doing it. Why? Because you can. You see, if we go to other communities and you try and see the same thing, right, where I want the best out of you, I have all of these requirements of you, but there are no requirements for me, and I'm going to do what I want, they're not going to have that. They're not going to have it. But for some reason, it has been accepted within our group sometimes. It's been okayed. And so now that's the kind of mentality that you've got out there, and it's upon This is why I say men have so much power in this regard. It's upon you to start telling these women no. Start telling them no. That's something that they're not used to hearing. They're not used to hearing that, and we know that they're not, because they've been getting away with this stuff for so long. People have just accepted it and said, okay, that's how it is. If I want a woman, I'm going to have to put up with this. I'm going to have to go along. That's just how it is. No, that's not how it is. It's that way because people are allowing it to be that way. Start expecting more. Start telling them that you want more. Put standards on what they have to be and what they have to do. That's not a harsh thing to do. That's normal. It's what everybody does. And at the end of the day, it's for your benefit as a man. So yeah, I think they do it because they've been allowed to, because it's been accepted for so long, because it's looked at as being, she's a strong, powerful woman. We always almost manage to twist it into a positive thing to be. And even when you look at feminist groups, they've always said that one thing they admired about the Black community is that it's the only one that is a matriarchy. It was the one where the women were on top, where the women were strong, powerful, independent, the leaders, the bosses, and that's what they wanted to emulate across all societies. And so you have to put your foot down and stamp it out, because it's gone on too long now. We know that it's not to the benefit of people. It's not. We've seen that through just looking at a few generations now and seeing how it's gone. It hasn't worked out. So it's time for a change, and it's time to put things back in its natural order.
Absolutely. Especially the children are like, I don't want to be involved with this. Children are bouncing out early. I just think sometimes women don't realize for the kids how the kids are, like I tell people all the time, your children are watching you. Your children are watching you. I'm probably going to pay a substantial amount and have some surrogate kids. I plan on having surrogate kids. I don't even want to put my future wife in a position to have kids. Just don't.
Why not?
I don't see. Okay, first of all, surrogate children will be my bloodline. It's just me paying somebody to give birth to my child. I might have to pay 50,000, but it's better than the headache of dealing with someone that just wants to, let's say, use the children as pawns. I guess that's the best way I look at it. Having a surrogate child through my bloodline removes the possibility of the wife using the children as pawns. Because go ahead.
It wouldn't be her child, just your DNA, and that's it.
Yes. Well, so with a surrogate kid, you go through a company. It's better to legally go through a company. You pick out the type of woman. These are women who've signed up with this company to have your child. And like right now, I'm looking at a 6'4", 6'6" Harvard or Yale woman, Black woman.
Oh wow!
And
You'd want your daughter to be 6'6".
I like tall. I'm hoping for a son, but
Okay.
I have dated women who were 6'4", 6'6".
I feel like that's going to be hard on them in the long run. Most people
not with this father. Not with this father. I'm setting my if it's my daughter, I will go out of my way to set her tall self up for success and get her suitors early. I think the key for tall women, having dated quite a few, is that they many times are thinking like 5'2" girls, and that's not how you got to do it. You have to go after the guy who is over the moon about you. And you have to appreciate that every day, even when you're pissed off with this guy. Because the success that I have had with taller women is, even though I was a tad shorter than them, they were impressed how they were treated like girls. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're tall and you're just getting, you're tall and you got the regular 5'2" mentality, and you're not in appreciative mode, which is, what I say all the time, then you're not going to get the great scenario that you want. You have to go after the guys who are established. You have to go after the guys who are appreciative, and then you can be girly. So no, I have no problem if my girl is tall, my daughter is tall. I'll make sure to find her suitors, real suitors, for her. I have no problem. I mean, I I have no problem having that happen. And black suitors, the guys from the chess club, guys from the tennis club. I have golf. I have endless supply of guys to interact her around and also coach her on what went wrong, what went good. You see what I'm saying? So I plan on being a very involved father. Most men, what are your thoughts on everything that Jessica said earlier and what I just said?
Well, I I think some of this stuff about high value and the gender war. I mean, just an overarching topic. I think some cats are really thinking too hard about it and or thinking too emotionally about it. It's super simple. In life, the game of chess is you're the king, she's the queen, and you work together as complementary pieces to win the entire game instead of working against each other or working not even just against each other, just with horse blinders and not seeing the other person next to you to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even a greater analogy using your example, the king and queen work to occupy the other people's land. That's what it's all about. Marriage is about acquiring. It's not about just being stagnant, using Jessica's words. It's about acquiring. So, so that's what I plan to do with the surrogate child. Is this will be strictly of my bloodline. So that way, when the wife comes in, she doesn't have to have children. You can keep your body nice and whatever. If you decide to ever leave our family, no harm, no foul. I'm not going to force you to pay me alimony for the kids because they're my children. Problem, Jessica? What are your thoughts? I'm trying to learn here.
You see, I've heard the surrogate topic being brought up before. I know Ramil Amir.
Yeah, I'm the one that introduced him to the theory.
He's an advocate for it. I personally,
Hmm.
I don't agree. I
Hmm.
don't agree. I see bringing a child into a single parent household as no different to when a mother purposefully does so. I
Hmm.
think a child needs two parents, those two influences. I believe they work in harmony together. I believe it takes two people to make a child for a reason because it takes two people to raise that child. And so, um, and this is no offense, right? But I feel when you're purposefully bringing that child in without half of what they should have, that's to the detriment of that child. And
Mm.
so, personally, it's not something that I agree with.
I will admit to you, I think I'm just too scared of women. Seriously, the first time I've ever said that, but you just made me think. I think it's because I'm too afraid of women.
And
I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid of women will destroy me and this kid because I've seen it happen too much. I've seen it happen to the nicest guys. I've seen it happen to the most career stand up type of dudes. She knows she has that Ronald Reagan law here in America, and she's going to use it if she feels like it. If her girlfriends tell her to, I'm not willing to risk me and my son's damage for that. Just not. Go ahead.
And that's what I was going to say. I understand why people are looking at that option, because of the current climate, right? Because of how risky it is for you. And when it comes to children, you just don't want to take risks. I get that. But I feel as though, um, rather than going for a surrogate, I feel like you could have a woman from a different culture with a different mindset. If that's the route that you need to take, I feel like that's a better option, than going it alone, than
In-
than a surrogate.
Interesting. Shout out to 4 Air Force One. Why do we expect women to choose high value men when all their lives they've been allowed to be dysfunctional by choosing low hanging, I'm going to say low producing guys? Yeah, I mean, I don't expect them to do it. Really, I just said the option is there for them. Um, it is what it is. Let me get one more comment in before we go to Mosman. East Indians during the Victorian era, they don't like your black hasses. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because of Gandhi, really. Look at caste system and the Untouchables. Well, caste systems came from the Aryans. We don't know how the Aryans got on this planet, but okay. Aryans are totally different from the Russians. The Russians don't even like the Aryans because they don't know how they got on this planet. Um, they're low caste and something like you. Let me go to one more. Vision also says world famous soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo has a surrogate child. Absolutely. Mosman, what are your thoughts before we go to this last question for Jessica and final comments? What are your thoughts on what was said?
Um, in regards to surrogates, that's something I've thought about too, because
See,
looking towards,
Jessica, it's catching.
yeah, because honestly, it's really about, so when I choose my lady to have my children with, part of me is scared of the fact that she might die in childbirth. I'm not trying to put that spirit on her. I'm just being pragmatic about it. So I'm looking for other ways to possibly do it. However, the primary goal is to have bloodline legacy. So I just have to be prepared for if it doesn't happen.
You know what? And Sketch One just said Michael Jackson did it. I forgot about that.
I think, we're using these examples, right, of these men who are, I think Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the highest paid sports stars in the world. Michael Jackson, one of the greatest
And your
music
point?
legends that ever existed. My point is that, most people can't afford the children the same lifestyle as these men do,
But what does the
right?
lifestyle have to do with it, though?
This is different. It's different in the sense that, it's for them personally. It's not too
Hmm.
different from the lifestyle that that child would already lead, right? When we look
Oh,
at
okay.
these people, the children are typically off away at some type of boarding school. They tend not to live in the
I
house
see.
all of the time. The lifestyle is very different, and so we can't use these people as examples for how it would work for the majority of society, because let's just face it, the surrogacy process is not going to work for, the average man as it has done for Cristiano Ronaldo. We need to be realistic. I feel like it's no different than when men say, I don't need to wear a suit. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, he doesn't wear a suit. Look at Bill Gates, he doesn't wear a suit. I feel like we're using the minorities to try and represent the majority. I feel as though most of the time it doesn't go that way. I feel it's something that a lot more research is needed, because it's such a new and uncommon phenomenon that we don't know much about it. We honestly don't. We only have a few examples from the celebrity world to look at to tell us how it's going to go. Um, so yeah, again, I'm not for it. I feel like, I'll say it again, children need two parents. two parents. I see a dad purposefully bringing a child into this world to be a single parent as no different to a woman who brings a child into this world purposefully to be a single parent. If you are down with surrogacy, you know, men using surrogacy, using surrogate mothers, you can't complain about single mothers. That's just my view on it. You have
I
to be
think
consistent.
I think our complaint about single mothers is about the outcome of the child. It's not about the fact that they're single mothers. There are some great single mothers whose outcome of the children are amazing. I grew up with a lot of those mothers. Some of my friends had those mothers. Some of those mothers, amazing. But I think it's just the outcome. I think when we talk, we use the incorrect word. We shouldn't use single mother. We should really say bastard kids, because bastard kids create all majority of the crime here in America. Bastard kids create all of the high school drama that don't allow you to learn effectively in a calm environment.
So
Bastard. So it's really not single mothers. I think that's something guys say, and they really shouldn't say it. It's really bastard kids. Go ahead.
So over time, because of how many single mothers there are, we've had a chance to analyze that data and see that it's not the most productive environment for a child to be in. And we've managed to see that the reason it's not the most productive environment for a child to be in is because they're missing one half of their upbringing. That's why. So you're only having a woman's nature rule over that child. And you need the balance of the two. It's like yin and yang, however you want to call it. And also, what studies have allowed us to see is that the most productive place for a child is a two-parent household. It is. And so, when you're purposefully having a child in an environment that we know is not the most productive, we know it's not the best for them, you're already bringing the child into the world in a scenario that is not the best for them. That's my problem with it. You know it's not the best for them, yet you're still going ahead and doing it.
I can understand.
I don't
No,
see
I
the
can understand.
difference. And
I
I
can
think
understand.
one argument that I hear is that, well, you know, single father households, the children tend to turn out better than single
Way
mother
better.
households. But to me, that argument right there, that's called the lesser of two evils.
Okay,
We both know
that's
that
fair.
they're productive, but this one is a bit more productive than the other
That's
one.
fair.
But
That's
they're
fair.
both unproductive.
That's fair. You really can't use percentages in a topic discussion where your end goal is outcome, because percentages then, and I'm just magnifying your argument, percentages therefore would be subject to the individual, and you can't use the individual in a topic discussion. You're
Right.
absolutely right. You're
And
absolutely right.
I think just the last point on this as well, even when we look at those studies that say single father households are more stable than single mother households at this point in time, that information is skewed, right? It's skewed
Right.
because one, there's simply not enough of those households to get an
Not enough data.
accurate. Yeah, we basically got
Mhm.
no data on it. There's not enough households for us to get an accurate picture. And on top of that, because of today's world, right, where everything is so mother first, when you do have a child where the dad has chosen to take full custody or he's chosen to be a single parent, he is more likely to be more committed, right? But
Mm.
then once that changes, and if it does start becoming mainstream, where people are just choosing, like, okay, that's the route I'm going to take, it's not necessarily a sign of commitment anymore. It's just a route that somebody has chosen to take. Whereas we know if a guy does it currently, it's because he genuinely is going to do his best for those children.
I'm finna crack a joke here. You see, Mosman, this is why we don't let Jessica speak on the other panels. We cut her off. We don't want all this intellectualism pouring over and into. We got to go back to limiting Jessica to maybe 4 sentences. She made me change my stance. Got to stop. Yeah. You out of bounds, Jessica.
This is the perfect forum. This is the perfect forum because we're able to really engage on topics that can help edify our minds and our spirits, and higher level, highbrow conversations, or I would say expansive conversations.
Expansive, yeah.
Because I believe that topics in themselves are languages. You, Mr. Research, you know about medical finance. You, Jessica, you know about project management. I know about film production. So the different topics that you're able to know about and pull from your consciousness allows you to get into different rooms along with the dress. So you got to look the part to get there. But once you're in,
wait. Before you finish, I do want you also to put in that suit and tie thing at the end of what you're going to say, but please continue.
Yes. So once you have the information in your mind, you got to look the part. You everything has to be checked out so that people trust you off the bat, and that starts with your image. That was it.
So I guess my earlier question was when Jessica and I were talking about, I just think it's ridiculous for Black guys to say, you don't need no suit and tie. I ain't wearing no suit. That lets me know you're not trying to be in the place where family business is being discussed. You're not trying to be in the place where industry business is being discussed. Even a tech guy wears a blazer in certain environments. How do you feel, Mosman? Just educate me, because I'm here to learn, about guys who say, I ain't wearing no suit. Mosman? Jessica?
Yeah, I think I kind of...
Oh, the white man got him. Oh well. See what happens when the FBI knows that you're out here?
Okay, he said he's back. He had to step away for a few
Mosman,
seconds.
can you hear me?
I can hear you guys. What's up?
Okay. You pay that white man bill. I feel you. You know, so it's so funny. Mosman probably ran and grabbed his credit card because there was a countdown on his internet connection. Like that shit. Damn white man. But no, my question was when guys talk about like you don't have to have a suit. You don't have to. I would say at least have a blazer, but you don't have to do none of that. But you're not going to be in certain areas where power is being discussed, Mosman, unless you have the attire.
Understood. You have to look the part.
So when a guy tells me that he's so hood and he making his money as a sewer repairman and he don't need to wear no damn suit, then that's the end of the conversation. You're not a person I'm gonna build with because you're not gonna understand anything I'm talking about when I talk politics and power.
Understood, or at least in that situation, it is perceived that he is unwilling to have this conversation. Because if you're shooting down the idea of a suit, what much more can we talk about other than that?
And I guess from a man point of view, and I know Jessica sometimes says it depends, but I'm not from that it depends world. Power is absolute. You either crushing enemies or you're not. It's no ifs, ands, and buts. My boss said something to me very stupid the other day, and I shared it at the Sacramento party I was at last night. He said, "Hey, it's 11 o'clock and we're only at 30%." And I contacted my linear partner, and I said, "What is he talking about? Why does he send these emails? Did he send these emails before I start working here?" No, we used to never get those. Okay, now that she said that, now I know it's a problem. So I go to him. I said, hey Rick, why do you? Well, where are you getting this 30% from? Oh, well, you see here, da 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 da. I said, Rick, I'm pretty good at math. That's not we're above 55%, and it's only 11 o'clock, bro. It ain't even lunchtime yet. So where are you getting this 30 from? Oh, what? Well, it's a projected number. It's not a real live number. Now imagine that you're emailing me about a possible projected end of day number, bro. Bro, what are we doing? Why are we even initiating this conversation? But notice I didn't act like a hood dude about it, even though I am a hood dude. I didn't pop off. I attacked him on his own intellect and challenged him on his own math. So, dude, you're trying to create a situation where ain't no situation. But I walked away and said, okay, but Rick, that email's kind of intimidating. Oh, no, it wasn't meant for that. Okay. All right. And see, a lot of people who don't have that suit and tie mentality cannot finesse that conversation. What are your thoughts, Jessica? Educate me. Now Jessica walked away.
Did the white man get her too?
No, the British guy got her.
Oh, yes.
The British guy got her. Go ahead.
My thoughts to that is you progressed through that situation without being emotional, which is the linchpin to negative situations. Which in that situation you didn't need to get emotional or like clap back at him or whatever. You just need to get past him to get to your objective, whatever that was in your mind. And I think a lot of people suffer from allowing feelings and things get to them, unfortunately. And I'm not a robot. I'm not going to say, oh, in that situation you shouldn't feel those things, but how did you behave outwardly?
Absolutely. We're going to start winding down. Jessica, are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, the British man let you go. Okay. Hey, we were wondering if you were sitting on Brighton Beach. That would explain it. Them Brighton Beach people, they're a whole nother level of Brit. I never forget. I was because I used to stay in Surrey near the golf course, and I never forget. We were leaving Manchester or something, and I bumped into somebody, and I said, "Oh, where are you from? London?" Because as a Yank, I can hear how you guys pronounce things depending on what region of Wessex you guys grew up, right? Your O's and your U's sound different. Y'all can't notice it, but I can. And I said, "Oh, you're from London?" She said, "Upper London." Christ, you guys, man, 14 blocks, and you guys, these guys are like serious about it. Mosman, it's kind of like it's kind of like Brooklyn in England.
Really?
Where you're right across the street from somebody, but that's a totally different area over there.
That's interesting. I want to go back.
It's a weird concept. But final thoughts. So my final thought on this topic is a lot of, and we covered quite a few things, but a lot of the women look at guys who are established as boring. But the proof of much of that is that there are safe guys out there. There are family guys out there. The women, and this goes kind of to Jessica's point from earlier part of the show. Women are just purposely not choosing it. Okay, and even Jessica made me think maybe I need a more safe type of woman. I'm going to start thinking about that one too. I need a safe type of woman, you know. Maybe she does have pimples on her face. Maybe I have to work around that. You know what I'm saying? But I need something safe. That's why I guess we get so jealous of some of the white guys because even though some of their women are not nearly to the level of a black woman, I just love, especially I like dark skinned women. I think the issue is she one of those who appreciates uh that man and how he needs to live his life in order for him to function? I guess that's a good thing for my last thoughts. Mosman, let me give you your last thoughts, sir.
I think it's important for us to really look within ourselves and to understand on a fundamental level what makes us happy. Those basic requirements, whether those basic requirements are higher for some than others, it's all relative. But I would say choose the best person for you and understand that great men, they draw their circle around the circumference of the entire world. So it is their duty to have no corner of the earth be untouched by their influence.
There you go. Very well said. How dare you come up here and be poetic? Um, going to have Jessica thinking that some of the manosphere is educated. How dare you? Um, Let me go to Jessica. Jessica, did you have fun?
I did. It's been a good discussion. I enjoyed it.
All right. Make sure you email your PayPal. We'll send you some lunch money for your time. And no,
I
very
don't have
seriously.
PayPal, but it's okay.
Oh, okay, bet that. And
Yeah.
what are your final thoughts? Be kind. Be kind. What are your final thoughts?
It's been good to have a slightly different discussion or different take on the high value concept. Because I don't know, we haven't really had a chance to get into it before. Most of the time it's, that's not high value. No one's really explaining it. People are more just disagreeing. And I know it's a controversial topic. So it's been nice to just talk about it, get different viewpoints, share our views, and thank you for having me on. It's been a
Did you not
nice
like
discussion.
did you not like my version of explanation?
I did. I think I kind of missed the beginning part, but then
Oh, that's right. You
so,
sure did.
yeah, so I'm gonna go back and look at your definition like as a whole. But I kind
Mhm.
of I got the drift of it.
Okay. And just to recap for other people, it is a combination. It is a combination of how other people in your industry view you as a go-to. It is about how other people in your pool of friends view you as a resource. Also, you got to make this money to where money discussions are not a problem for you. Dropping 3 to 5 thousand on a lawyer is not a problem for you. Having a $40 or $120 meal is not a problem for you. This is where the separation comes from a person just making money versus a person that has value. You know you're going to drop this money and it's going to come right back. You're really not concerned. You know that you just lost a job and you're really not concerned because you're valuable in your industry and you have a contact list of people who will vouch for you. This is what it means to be high value. This is why it's different from the low producing dudes, because low producing dudes don't know what that feels like. It's not that I'm crapping on low producing dudes. There's some quite great dudes, but it's different. It's different when you got these connections and the people who you're connected with. I got one of my former former work colleagues a job at McKesson. I said, you know what? Somebody offered me a job at McKesson. I'm not really interested, but I know you're looking for a job, so I'll put in a good word for you. And guess what? She's been working there for 4 years. I got 7 black men hired last year. I got I got 5 black men hired last year. I got 7 black men hired this year before COVID. That's the power of, hey, CA say you good, we gonna pull you in. That's value. On my just so I can learn as we close out, does anybody disagree with that concept? Anybody? I want to hear disagreements.
No disagreements.
Lady J, you good?
No disagreement.
Okay. So with that said, I'm going to close out. Much love to everybody. This was a great thing. Tune in. I'm going to be talking with a white guy later on today at 4 o'clock, and we're gonna. He's borderline racist, and we're gonna go toe to toe. I'm gonna go on his show, and then I'm gonna bring him on the CA Latre show later in the month. But it's going to be interesting because he likes to try to catch me up in this gotcha stuff of look, see what the black people doing, and I'm on the spit. It's challenging for me. I like these intellectual challenges. So when we get it posted up, it takes him a while to edit it. Keyword edit it. He likes to edit it. So once he gets it all up, I will post it up to the Ciela Trey show, and you guys can uh dissect it. Okay. Much love. Thank you for Jay. Thank you for Mr. Mosman. Catch everybody else the next time. Much love. Peace.
Bye.
Adios.